Raco, by the way.
Raco, my apology.
No, how could you know?
I should have known. I
could have called you Scott Casson.
You know what? I've been called worse. All right, everybody. We are back with our next guest, Marc Raco, who is the main man behind Mouth Media Network. And this guy, we are in the presence of greatness. This guy has an amazing bio, amazing backstory on what he's done in his past. I wanted to share just a little bit of you. He's a New York City-based Marc Raco. Has appeared in over 30 stage productions, more than 25 film projects, many commercials and parodies, network television such as Limitless, Blue Bloods, Law & Order SVU, As the World Turns, and the Onion News Network. That's my favorite one out of those. Marc has been recognized for acting as overall world champion for the men 25 and plus and multi-gold medalist in the 2005 World Championships of Performing Arts as Best Actor in the 2006 International Museum Photography Film Acting Competition as one of the top 4 competitors out of 50 on the reality television pilot, So You Want to Be an Actor. So honored to have you here. Marc Raco, everybody.
Thank you. That's lots of fun to look at that. It's funny because none of that has very much to do with our conversation at all.
That's okay. I just wanted to share a little about there because we all got such interesting backgrounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Marc, why don't you take a second here, share a little about what is Mouth Media Network and how you just rocking that out, man, because you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Scott. Really, like others have said, I appreciate you providing a platform for many of us to share what we're doing and perhaps any insights we can offer. And the combination of all those people together, boy, what a message you are contributing to the growth of podcasting and the message behind International Podcast Day. So at the risk of looking like I'm blowing sunshine up your skirt, I really appreciate what you're doing. So glad to be a part of it. Mouth Media Network is first and foremost a podcast network. We currently have 14 shows live, but we're about to add 3 more. That'll put us at 17. And we're largely focused with B2B content, where we focus our programming on the intersection of innovation and technology and different lifestyle industries like fashion and beauty and travel and real estate and spirituality and music and so forth. And the second thing that we do is we produce internal podcasts. So when corporations or associations want to communicate with their members or their employees to educate them or inform them about a training or compliance issues or some sort of company-wide or association-wide message, and they can do it through podcasting. So we work with companies like that. And we've also, it's no secret because we've communicated out there, we've been working for the last couple of years on a sort of super secret technology that is meant for the business-to-business space that we plan to unveil in early 2019 that we think will change the way that people can utilize podcasting for business purposes. So that's a lot of what we're doing. We're based in New York, but we work closely with conferences and trade shows as well, really all over the world. Recently, we had one of our team members was in Sydney and Melbourne, Australia. In September, we were in Copenhagen, Denmark, and we've been all over the country. So it's an incredible opportunity to give people a platform to share. It's really less about us sharing a message. It's really more, it's not even about our bringing guests on, but, we have a stable, Scott, of I gotta say around 40 hosts of our shows. And each of them, we are not DJs or media people or even podcasters per se that are sharing expertise. We are experts that Mouth Media trains to be media personalities. Mm-hmm. And then they are themselves, our hosts are captains of industry, heads of brands, high-end innovators, and so forth. And then what they do is they bring people in from that they have access to in their ecosystems, and have meaningful conversations. And conversations is the key word. We don't really do interviews. We have conversations. We sit around we've designed our studio so it's a bunch of club chairs in a circle. So people are really having almost like a living room conversation. Most of our guests are required to bring a snack for everyone to share in order to be in the interview. It changes the dynamic of the kind of discussions that we're having. So very, very high-end conversations about complicated things sometimes are very, very accessible to the listener. So that's what we're doing largely.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's good. Hang on, I'm gonna get my video here. I had to turn it down and close the blinds because it's starting to sunset in here. Get sun in my eyes in my office, but that is a phenomenal platform. Bringing on key figures and allow them to share their messages and their audiences with the public. That's a unique thing out there. That's really awesome. I imagine you're just seeing all sorts of amazing growth from those shows, huh?
Well, I got to say, we've been very pleased. Right now, we have about 250,000 downloads each month. Wow. But I would say that it's all very relative, because if you have a consumer-based audience, you're really aiming for whatever the number is to make it meaningful. 10, 50, 100,000, a million people, whatever it is. But when your audience is largely decision makers of brands, it's very meaningful to have an audience of 5,000, 10,000 people. And if you have more than that, then bully to you. And that's been our experience. The second thing is on our network, we're not trying to sell bed sheets. Or I'm not making fun of it.
No, I get it, but I love the analogy.
On our network. But what we are trying to do is make connections and allow people to be a meaningful part of an arc of conversation. So what I would rather do with a brand, and this is really where our success has come from, is to partner them, put them in front of a series of people that they would really like to foster meaningful relationships with. That's how our podcast started. It was just an excuse to sit down with people that we otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to spend an hour with. Okay. And they'll do it if it's a podcast, if it's a piece of media, and then you've recorded that, you can listen to it later and sort of comb through it. But then the other thing you can do is you can share it with a large number of people. How great is that? So one of the big ways that we monetize instead of selling bed sheets is we have more than once a month, we have live audience events where we curate an audience of 100, 200 decision makers from that particular industry that the show is centered around, in a great venue, cocktails, sometimes live music. We curate a marquee guest. And then the main event of the evening is a live podcast recording where we goose the audience like a live TV taping, and it's very exciting and fun, and everyone loves it. And sometimes we'll invite one of the people from the brand that we've partnered with for that to sit in as a co-host on that show. Mm-hmm. That positions them as a thought leader. So my point in saying all this is just that what we're really trying to do is we're not trying to be a media property that someone pays for time on, even though I know that works. Mm-hmm. We're trying to be a meaningful partner and propel conversations that grab attention and move forward the identity and the connections and the relationships that brand or that thought leader or whoever we're partnering with needs and wants to have.
That's really great. That's a phenomenal way of looking at things on that aspect. And I love with what you guys are doing. They're talking about the events and that stuff and bringing on the people. That's just a phenomenal way of doing things to really get the word out and really moving the needle forward in a lot of players, moving the ball forward down the road, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, what's the point of a partnership if 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Has there been some mistakes or anything that you've done with the different shows mistakes you're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that, or we should do, or that you thought you might thought not work and worked really well? Any tips that you'd recommend to people?
Yes. In fact, I'll go back to the snack idea. In fact, I just wrote an article about this for Podbrief. And the idea, well, one of the things is when you forget to plug power into your laptop and you have to get up in the middle of an interview and go get your power cord. I bet you didn't see that one coming. So, I'm trying not to waste my few minutes with you here, but I don't want to go.
No. Hey, you know what? It's a little simple thing sometimes. I have done the same thing too. But in the middle of a great thing is something your computer dies.
Oh my gosh. I don't want that to happen. So while I'm getting this together, I'll tell you, rituals, I think, are very important for podcasts, because this is not about having a radio station, a radio program where when the person's in the car, you're hoping you will be who they tune into. This is about real estate. This is about, because as you know, I believe it's that the average person listening to podcasts in the U.S. subscribes to 5 and listens to 3 regularly. I believe it is. So how do you get to be one of those 3? That's valuable real estate, because if you're not getting it done, if you don't give them a reason to come back, if you don't give them something to look forward to, and then there's a little reward that releases those endorphins, they're not addicted to you and need to come back. And it can be something as simple as that fantastic theme music. It can be something like a phrase that they always say that you go, there it is. Okay, that's why I come here. Or it can be a segment, or it can be a moment. It can be a beat. So one of the things that we do on our shows, we have a series of shows on our network called Is Your Business. Blank is your business. Fashion is your business. Real estate is your business. And long story short, because I know we're short on time here, on every one of those shows, we require, as I said before, our guests to bring a snack for everyone to share. Now, it sounds like a gimmick, but it isn't. It started, and here's the answer to your question. It started where we recorded at night after our day jobs, before this became a full-time gig for us, for our network. I'm going to talk loud so I can go plug this in. Well,
you're good. You're good.
This is showbiz, everybody.
This is real life.
Real life. So, can you still hear me, Scott?
I hear you great. Keep going, Mark.
Okay. I guarantee not one of your other people does this stupid thing. Okay.
Hey, there's always got to be the token one.
Okay, here's what we go. I'm going to finish something because I know you got someone else standing by. So we were always hungry. We were hungry. The guest was hungry. So one time we said, "Hey, friend, would you bring a snack? Bring a snack. We'll pay you back or whatever." And then they did. And we were like, "Hey, this is awesome. This is like an equalizer. This is like us breaking bread together. It changes the dynamic of the interview." So we said, "Hey, do next one. Do it again." And we realized we're going to now require our guests to bring it. If they don't, we make fun of them. So that's become a staple of the show, and it becomes a beat of those shows. You always know we're going to finish the first segment out with this, and it reveals a little bit about our guest. It humanizes them, because the captain of the $10 billion company has to effing bring us sushi, or they bake us cookies, their grandmother's recipe. Or clearly they were lazy, forgot. Their assistant said, "Don't forget the snack." They stopped at 7-Eleven 2 minutes before the interview and brought us a bag of Lay's potato chips. It says a lot. Now, I'll finish with this. In one of our most popular shows, Fashion is Your Business, for the first 99 shows, I kept saying, "Guys, someday someone's going to bring us a snack." Someday someone's going to bring us steak. That'll be the snack. Steak someday. If I put it out to the universe, someday someone is going to bring us steak. And no one did, of course. But great food. So I decided that for our 100th show on that particular podcast, I was going to get us in a steakhouse, and they were going to give us steak. And amazingly, somehow they saw the value of podcasting, where we brought in a marquee guest and they treated us to a dinner for 10, a steak dinner for 10 in their private dining room, where we recorded the 100th show of that podcast around a table with our steak and our appetizers and our drinks that they treated us to in return for a series of messages promoting this and promoting the restaurant on our show. And like, it was a really tangible way to say, this is, you know, I can tell you 10 stories like that where you find evidence that it connects with people and they believe in it. So for every one person that goes, what's a podcast? I've got a restaurant that's willing to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for us to do our thing in their room. And I think that as time is developing, as we salute International Podcast Day, we are seeing more and more tangible evidence. Look at the investing that's going on, the acquisitions that are going on, the things like you devoting time to this, more and more advertisers, blah, 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 blah. This is a freaking thing. And I will get more and more steak as we go. That's what it all comes to.
Love it. You know, you made me hungry for steak now. I should have said if Ruth Chris was willing to let me host it from there. That's where I should have been the entire day, right?
Next time. Because come to them and say, look, I'm going to have X number of podcasts all day, and in every one of them, and all the way these people share this, we'll talk about Ruth Chris. It's worth a shot.
It's totally worth a shot.
If you don't do it, I might do it.
Hey, there you go. It's a race now. It's now a race. The gauntlet has been thrown down.
It's a race. I would like to mention in closing here, I do believe what you're doing is great, supporting other podcasters. As you can see behind me, there's a thing there, The Word from Mouth. That's a podcast that we produce about podcasting, but it's not about the best microphone or something like that. It's about the podcast industry at a high level, a lot of thought leadership, and talking to people like Dave Jackson, talking to people like Ivo Terra, the Podcasting for Dummies guy, and more, and people like you sitting down and having discussions about podcasting and with the people who are driving the industry. So I encourage people to check it out. I don't mean that as a shameless plug.
No,
I mean it as an offer of resource. The Word from Mouth Media Network.
That's awesome. What's the best way for the listeners out there that are either listening to this on iTunes or watching this live or watching this on YouTube as we have it? What's the best way for people to reach out to you, Mark?
I would love for them to go to mouthmedianetwork.com. You can check out all of our shows. And of course, we're on iTunes and everybody else. But if anyone that's listening to this wants to contact us at Mouth Media, it will reach me. You can go to podcast@mouthmedianetwork.com, or on Instagram, we are at Mouth Media Network.
That is awesome, man. Thank you so much. I know you got a busy day out there, but thanks so much for being a part of International Podcast Day. So honored to have you on. Look forward to hanging out with you some more in the future. So. Definitely, man.
Look forward to it, Scott. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Let's do that.